What's up, y'all? We're back out here on the range on a soggy morning to start things out with. It's been raining pretty much the past 3 days, so everything's still soaking wet out here. The sun is coming out, so it's probably gonna get a little steamy out here today. Temperature's supposed to hang around in the 80s. I did put my shelter on up though because I've got some brand new blocks that's a little bit wavy, so I got some reflections going on. I think I got it set up to get this show on the road though, and we're gonna start it out with some good old 9mm. So the jelly contraption is set up, ready to roll with a couple of chronos and 2 fresh blocks of gel, and I mean first time fresh on these right here. So again, apologies that they're a little bit wavier than normal, but that next batch y'all know will be really nice and smooth, crystal clear though, so we should get a real nice picture of what happens. Got the heavy clothing barrier, of course, with the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And what we got for this one is another round from the folks over there at Defiant Munitions. Y'all know I've tested quite a bit of their stuff. Most of it, they're solid copper expanders. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a single time that this stuff didn't do very, very well. All of it has done really nicely. Now, this right here is not the solid copper expanders. This is a lead expander. This is their 9mm 125 grain plus P round. They're calling this their Defiant defensive match round. So apparently a match style loading. Now, when I think of match personally, I think of, you know, very, very nice consistency as far as velocity, really nice accuracy. Now, I'm not going to be testing for accuracy out here. That's just not my thing. Y'all have heard me talk about that in the past. I really don't think you get much from watching somebody else test rounds for accuracy, especially out of short barrels like this. You know I could say, well, how does it do compared to other rounds from myself, from my stuff out here? But even then, it's just, I just don't think it's really very valuable for other people to watch me accuracy test rounds. But anyway, as you can see, these are also labeled as defensive, so Defiant defensive match. So I expect some real good performance in the gel out here. Now, these are plus P. This is a 125 grain projectile saying 1250 feet per second from the box, and this is out of a G17 with the 4.49 inch barrel. So 4.5 inch barrel G17 is what that's tested from. Here's a look at your cartridge. Nice plated case with that HP projectile. Really nice big opening on that, which is something I always like to see. Nice cannula on the case there for those of y'all who are worried about setback. I know a lot of people always talk about that, chambering and rechambering their rounds. They get setback on a lot of stuff. That right there is supposed to be to help prevent that. And as far as what we're running them from out here today, it's my usual test tools. For the shorty, I've got my Canik Mete MC9 with the 3.1 inch barrel, and then we sure enough have a G17 out here with that 4.5 inch barrel that these are rated from, so we should see those numbers for sure out of that G17. But like I said, I can't really remember a single time that anything from Defiant has not done well, so I expect really good stuff from these. But let's get it all set up and see what happens. All right, let's see what kind of numbers we can squeeze out of this stuff. I'm gonna do a 5-round average from each barrel length, starting with this MC9 first. Now, if y'all aren't familiar with my lab radar here, you're gonna see multiple readings off this thing. The large number is at the muzzle, and then you've got 5 across the bottom. The first one I've got set for 3 yards, which is roughly where the gel is here at 10 feet. And then I've got them set for 10, 15, 25, and 50 yards. Now remember, the box on this is saying 1250 through the G17, so we know we won't see that here. Hopefully we still see at least 1200. 1200 is, that would put us right at that 400 foot-pounds of energy mark, which really means nothing as far as 9mm goes. That's just a kind of a personal number I like to see when it comes to 9mm, right around that 400 or 400 plus foot-pounds of energy, I should say. And that's out of something like a 124, 125. I know there's plenty out there you can put a little 80 grain, 65 grain, whatever, and just boost them numbers way on up. But I really like to see that 400 plus foot-pounds of energy out of a 124, 125 9mm. But anyway, let's see what these things get. Long story short, 1202, 1222, 1195, 1198, and 1194. So a couple of them seem to be a little off right there at that 1200 mark. Let's see what the average was. All right, so our 5-round average right there was 1202 feet per second. So sure enough, an average right at, or right a little tiny bit above that 400 foot-pounds of energy. We had an extreme spread right there of 28 and the standard deviation of 11.6. So not bad right there on the consistency. Our low was what, 1194? I think all of them though were right around that 1200. I believe that 1222 was a high outlier right there, but pretty much what I expected to see with the MC9 based on these box numbers. Let's get it all reset and see what that G17 does. All right, let's see what the G17 does for it. I'm a little bit worried that we still might not quite see that 1250 out of this out here today. It just seems like we're gonna be a little bit off. This thick air ain't helping either. I ain't making no excuses, but I'm sure it ain't gonna help things at all, this humidity. Well, let's see what we get. Hopefully we get real close, if not at it. 1275, 1302, 1256, 1287, and 1292. So much for not hitting the 1250. Let's check out that average. All right, I was definitely worried about hitting that 1250 for no reason right here. Our 5-round average was 1282 on this right here. So whatever sauce they putting in this obviously really likes that little bit longer barrel. Our extreme spread on this was 46 with a 17.8 standard deviation. A little bit bigger spread than I think I would want to see. When you're talking about match stuff, y'all have to let me know on that, how big of a deal that is. Still though, I mean, that's nothing outrageous at all, especially figuring different conditions and all. Again, not making excuses, but I feel like sometimes I need to kind of add some of this stuff in. I really take for granted that people should know stuff like this, but sometimes it seems like it just has to be said. So anyway, again, 1282 for a 5-round average is some nice energy right there from a plus P round, and recoil on this really mild, nothing really crazy at all. 1282 here, and if you remember on that MC9, it was 1202, so you talking about 80 feet per second difference. Again, whatever sauce they using right here must really like these longer barrels. But all that being said, based on these numbers, I think both of them are going to do a really nice job in the gel. Well, let's get it all reset, and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's the bad guy has met their defiant defensive match jelly time. We'll put one from each barrel length into the gel, starting with this MC9 first. I think both of these are going to do a really nice job as long as these projectiles are good. I don't know what they are. I don't think I even mentioned at the beginning. I'm not sure what these are. Let's see what happens. All right, that should have been a nice one right there. Let's go check it out. All right, so far so good. That's actually looking really nice down there, and we still kept that 1200 feet per second down there at the gel block, which y'all know I like to see. So G17 is going to be more good stuff. There's no doubt about it. It would have been more good stuff if I didn't put it too low. Let's see if I stayed in. All right, wishful thinking. It went out the doggone side down there. I'm sure it did really nicely too. You can just tell by the track, but let's see if we can get this one to stay in and get us a projectile to look at. All right, that one should have been perfect right there. Let's go check these things out. All right, let's check this stuff out down here. Very, very nice performance from all of these. Absolutely perfect performance, as a matter of fact. And they behaved almost exactly the same way. I mean, you can see even the disruption looks the same. The penetration is exactly the same. The expansion looks the same, which I have mentioned this before, but I absolutely love when that's the case, because you don't have to worry about, well, do I carry this for a long barrel? Do I carry this in a short barrel? Is this going to work? You know, what's what's it going to do if I'm carrying the short, what's it going to do if I'm carrying the long. When it does exactly the same thing out of different barrel lengths, you have no worry and you do not have to guess what kind of performance you're going to get. So starting up here at the top, that's the one from the MC9. Again, as you can tell, it comes in immediate expansion, very, very nice disruption through this first block here, pretty much all the way through, and looks like it's maybe an inch from the end of this first block, and absolutely perfect looking expansion. And then from there, if we jump all the way to the bottom, I had to get my low left out of the way for today, it seems. This one came in very, very nice again. It looks, again, almost exactly like these other ones. Kept on trucking and actually came out the side right here. So if we'd have got maybe 4 more inches or so, we'd have been safe with that one. And so then finally in the middle, that's the second one from the G17. Obviously that was from the G17, but this is the second one from the G17. Once again, fantastic energy transfer and disruption right here, all the way through this block. Very nice disruption. And again, this is exactly the same as far as penetration. I mean, I'm telling you right now, there's not a 32nd of an inch difference on the penetration, and the expansion looks nearly identical. But let's find out how far they went, both of them, the MC9 here and the G17. They're exactly 15 inches. Both of those rounds are exactly 15 inches. I mean, again, there's not even a 32nd of an inch between those. So very, very nice performance right there. And here's your closer look at them. Again, you can't tell the difference at all, but especially between those two. This one probably a little bit different because it was so close to the bottom, but it looks nearly the same. All three of those look absolutely beautiful performance through the gel here, and you can see exactly the same as far as penetration, and the expansion looks fantastic from both. If we look from above here, it's a little bit tricky. I gotta kind of get you in an upside down angle here, but I think you can tell just fantastic disruption from these, and once again, very, very nice expansion. All right, let's take a look at these projectiles, y'all. More really, really nice stuff. This one right here is the MC9. This one's the G17. Now, I can tell you in person here, this G17 is a little bit bigger. And that kind of gives you some interesting stuff to look at there. If y'all remember the last copper test I did, or really most copper 9mm tests, it's interesting to see that this is one of the differences that you'll get as far as performance. You remember most of the copper 9mm, or a lot of them, if it's moving fast, your ending size is actually going to be smaller than something that was moving a little slower, just because it bends those pedals backwards on the copper. Whereas the lead rounds, you know, there's more lead to still be pulled out, so it's still kind of pulling that lead out, if you will, you know, not really pulling, but you know what I mean. The expansion is causing that lead to come out the center, and there's still more lead until you get down to the bottom of the cavity. Whereas the copper, there's no material that is kind of pulling out, if you will. It's just kind of folding those pedals. So long story short, when you get more speed with or more velocity with the lead stuff, a lot of times you end up with a bigger final size, where it's kind of the opposite with the copper rounds a lot of times. But that's just more my rambling. That doesn't really mean a whole lot. I just think stuff like that's interesting. Either way, you can tell these things did an absolutely beautiful job of expansion. So let's get us some measurements on them. As far as weight, I would be willing to bet we didn't lose anything. They started at 125. This one from the MC9 is at 125.2, so nothing lost right there. This one from the G17 is at 125.0, so both of these held on to all of their material. And then as far as expansion size, we'll start with the MC9. You got 559 and 555, so nice even expansion right there. And then on the G17, you got 595 and 593, so again, a little bit larger ending size, but both of those had some very nice expansion. And there you have it, y'all, the Defiant Munitions Defiant Defensive Match 9mm 125 grain plus P. Very, very nice performance right here. Really no surprise. Again, all the Defiant stuff that I can remember has done very, very well. Most of it being copper though, so it shows you right here they can do it with the lead too. Those guys just really know what they're doing. They use really nice high quality stuff and put out some very, very nice ammo. So the bottom line here, in my opinion, these did an absolutely perfect job. They had good energy for 9mm, perfect penetration, perfect expansion. They performed the same out of both different barrel lengths. So in my opinion, again, an absolute fantastic defensive choice. All right, y'all, we're gonna call it right there for another nice 9mm test to start the day. I don't know what else you could really ask for out of these right here. Pretty much perfect performance, very, very nice penetration, very nice expansion, nice energy for a 9mm. Y'all know me, I always want more, so I'd like to have a little more energy and velocity, but you got this really nice energy and really nice performance, and they kept it really mild as far as recoil and report. It wasn't nothing crazy loud. Recoil very, very manageable. So again, I think Defiant did a really nice job right here. Now, for those of y'all who watch these videos to the end and are still here, let me address the elephant in the room that I'm sure I'm going to hear about in the comments. These are not cheap. You know, these are not budget rounds. They're very high quality stuff. They are in 50 round boxes. So per round, they're right there with other high end stuff, depending on where you get them, other than like some Leo trade stuff. So just let me get that out of the way. This is not budget stuff, but it's right there in line with basically all the other real high end stuff. And with that being said, I don't have any kind of affiliate link or anything. I don't get any kickbacks at all. I do have a code that'll help y'all out. I'll add some stuff to my campsite if y'all want to check that out. Again, it's not an affiliate link. I don't get anything out of this deal. I'm just passing it along if y'all are interested. But let me know down in the comments what y'all think about this 9mm from Defiant. Do you run any of this? Any of y'all out there? Do y'all run some other round from Defiant? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed the video, take a second if you would and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you've got those notifications turned on so you get notified when I upload stuff. Take a second, like I always ask you, and check out those affiliate links in the video description. Lots of good stuff down there, and anything you pick up, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Big thanks again to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. Got a couple more interesting things planned for out here today, so stay on the lookout for those. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.